I'm Brian Bruman, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Disneyland will allow visitors to pay to get to the front of the line on 19 rides through their Genie Plus app. The biggest teachers union in the country, the National Education Association, is asking social media companies to stop the spread of dangerous viral challenges to young people. And the Justice Department says it won't pursue federal civil rights charges against the officer who shot Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year, leaving him partially paralyzed. There's a stall on the 405 in Culver City.
That's northbound at National Boulevard. It's blocking the middle lane. Overall, it's a pretty slow crawl from the 105. Good news in Encino on the 101 northbound at Balboa. An earlier wreck has been cleared from the 2 left lanes. Traffic is recovering from Woodman Avenue. And in Ontario on the 10 westbound, there's a work zone that has the 3 right lanes closed off until 5 a.m. Monday. That's in between the 15 and Haven Avenue. Currently seeing heavy delays from Etiwanda. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Pedro Moreno.
Hey, Drew, do you know what's really spooky during Halloween?
What, Dad?
Your old mattress. Because after 8 years, an old mattress can collect sweat and dead skin, creating the perfect environment for dust mites.
Yuck. Plus, laying on the same mattress for 8 years creates tremendous wear and tear, making it harder to get the comfort and support you need.
So if your mattress is over 8, it's time to replace during Sit and Sleep's fall sale, where you can save $1,000 on select mattresses from Beautyrest, Kingstown, and Sealy.
Plus, get a $300 gift with purchase with any Tempur-Pedic. And with your good credit, pay 0% financing for 12 months with your minimum monthly payment.
And only Sit and Sleep has bed match technology that scientifically recommends the level of support that's right for your shape and size. So this Halloween season, quit sleeping on your scary old mattress.
Trust your sleep to Sit and Sleep during our fall sale for dreams that are sweeter than a pumpkin spice latte.
That sounds good, Drew. How about I buy you one with extra whipped cream?
Thanks, Dad.
This fall, Audible is the best place to listen for everything you're into, from comedy to motivation to the latest bestsellers. Find it all at Audible with audiobooks, exclusive originals, and popular podcasts. Start listening free when you sign up at audible.com.
By the year 2035, nearly half of today's occupations and some industries will be gone. It's because of rapid changes coming our way thanks to disruptive technologies. Join host Rick Edelman for a virtual event, The Truth About Your Future, on October 19th at 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern. This valuable presentation is designed to help you understand the coming changes that'll reshape everything from tax laws to how you live, work, and prepare for retirement. Please go to EdelmanFinancialEngines.com to register for this free event. You'll discover the potential opportunities involving the latest technologies, like artificial intelligence, 3D printing, neuroscience, and the blockchain. All this education and advice is based on our 30-plus years of investment management experience. Please join us Tuesday, October 19th at 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern. Go to EdelmanFinancialEngines.com to register. From here forward.
I'm attorney Darren Kavanoki from 1-800-NO-CUFFS. Can you do the alphabet backwards? Z, Y, X, W, V. Yeah, try doing that by the side of the road. So if you get pulled over, don't wing it. Call us at 1-800-NO-CUFFS.
Let's start with sauces. This is really cool. They're not that difficult, and the key ingredient to me is ketchup. It's one of the things that we buy in bulk. It's the base for a lot of different sauces.
The Fork Report with Neil Saavedra this afternoon at 2 on KFI AM 640.
More stimulating talk.
Ain't that a shame? 8888 asked Leo. Larry's on the line from San Francisco. Hi, Larry.
Hello, Leo. Nice to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you.
First off, I want to throw out a giant thank you for iDrive, for advertising iDrive and letting me learn about it, because it saved my life last night.
Wait a minute. Let me get the iDrive ad all queued up. That's great. Yeah, they're an advertiser. So good. What happened?
Well, it ties into the question I have. I was trying to get my computer to a place where I could install Windows 11 later, and I keep getting this issue where it says I need to initiate secure boot. and I'd done everything I'd read about. I'd updated my BIOS. I have a nice Asus motherboard. I updated the BIOS. I went into the BIOS to try and find the control that you're supposed to flip to turn secure boot on, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I did some more reading, and it said that you should also have your partitions need to be GPT. I think it was GPT.
So yeah, let me ask you a couple of questions. Was this machine? Was this a Windows machine that you bought in the store?
No, I built this.
You built it. Yeah. And when you installed Windows, it installed just fine. Windows 10.
Sure.
Yeah. And so you had Secure Boot turned on, because without Secure Boot, Windows 10 wouldn't install either. At some point, did you go into BIOS and turn off Secure Boot? Because that's a BIOS technology, you know.
No, I didn't even know what Secure Boot was. I wasn't trying to do anything about that.
Microsoft started doing this a few versions ago, where they would cryptographically sign the operating system, and then the computer would have keys. And this was to keep a bad guy from modifying your operating system. The computer would have keys and say, oh, yeah, this is from Microsoft, it's good, and you would install it. And the reason I'm aware of it is because most Linuxes are not cryptographically signed. The certificate doesn't exist in the BIOS, so you couldn't install Linux on these machines unless you disabled Secure Boot, which you can do. Most people wouldn't want to. Chromebooks come with a Secure Boot process as well, because it's good for security. When Microsoft first introduced it, a lot of people said, "Oh yeah, it's also good for Microsoft," because you can't, but install Windows without it, and you can't install anything besides Windows with it. But they did give you a switch to turn it off. I don't know why it's not seeing Secure Boot. That's what's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I did see something about keys as I was casting around, but I didn't change or touch anything. Anyway. So I did some more reading, and it said you have to have partitions with GPT, and I was
Which you do. If the only thing you've ever done on this machine is Windows 10, is that correct?
Yes.
It's all properly set up. You're using Secure Boot. You wouldn't have been able to install Windows 10 without it. They're GPT. It's UEFI. So all of that is a given. Otherwise, Windows 10 wouldn't be on it. What's the process that you're using to upgrade to Windows 11?
Oh, I'm not upgrading to it yet. I just used their health tool to see if I could. And
it said you can't.
Right, because it keeps telling me I need to...
Is it saying TPM? Is it saying anything about TPM?
No, it says Secure Boot.
I'm wondering if this is a TPM issue. Microsoft has said Windows 11 will not install on machines that don't have an 8th generation or later Intel processor. How old is your machine?
Mine, well, it's, maybe 2 years. But I know, I've run the test before, the checker, and it said everything is fine except your boot.
How strange. You need a TPM 2.0 support. That can be either in hardware or software. It's usually in hardware. It's an Intel thing that comes with the machine. You built it yourself with from scratch.
Right.
Okay. What's the processor on there then?
It's an i7 8700.
Okay. So that is 8th generation.
Right. So, but so I went looking around for programs because I read that you have to have somewhere it said you have to have GPT instead of MBR.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have MBR unless you, for some reason. Maybe it's because it's a home-built computer.
Yeah, it's home-built, and I have Windows 10 because I've upgraded. I've had this... I've upgraded to Windows 10 from...
Ah! All right. So it's possible that when you formatted the drives way back when you built this, for some reason you formatted them MBR, which is Master Boot Record. It's the old way of booting computers. We haven't done that in some time. GPT is the modern way of doing it. In order to make this work, you'd probably have to reinstall Windows 10 from scratch, I think, back up the drive. In fact, probably this is what's going to happen. Forget the compatibility checker. I think it's giving you bogus information. It's possible you don't have Secure Boot turned on since you built it yourself. But to do that, you go into the BIOS settings. Look at the security settings.
Right.
And it should say Secure Boot. Legacy mode should be turned off.
Ah, okay.
And then, do you have a lot of stuff on this computer you don't want to lose? Because
well, that's where iDrive comes.
iDrive is going to save your booty, yeah, because that's...
Yes.
But you got to make sure iDrive is completed before you assume you've got a full backup. You can back up locally, too, which is probably a better idea.
Well, that's what I was coming to, how iDrive saved me, because I found a program that claims to change MBR partitions to GPT.
Oh, my goodness.
So I ran it, and it looked like everything was fine.
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, in my defense, it was midnight when I was doing this.
Oh, it always is. Believe me. It's normal, completely.
I know nothing good happens when you try
No.
midnight. So I went back into BIOS to see if I could, some switch had been flipped somewhere. Everything looked the same. So I go back to reboot to Windows, and it won't boot.
Aye.
I'm like, oh my, then I remembered MBR means master boot record.
That's right. You've changed it. You probably wiped your master boot record.
Yes, that's what I figured. I tried, booting from a Windows USB key to see if it could repair itself.
And all this just to install Windows 11.
No, and I wasn't going to install Windows 11. I just wanted to be ready to.
Yes.
Once it had worked its bugs out and everything. But luckily, I have I cloned my drive through iDrive onto, I have, the cloud backup, and I also keep a clone on a
Smart
external
man.
drive.
That's one of the nice things about iDrive. It does both, and it's good to do both. You should have both. Yeah.
So last night I just plugged in the little program to run iDrive and plugged in my backup. And I'm halfway back. Thank heaven.
Oh, hallelujah.
So thank you, iDrive.
So ultimately, I think what you want to do is, it probably is the case when you built the computer, you didn't worry about this.
No.
And didn't know. And so you formatted an MBR, I would guess. Maybe you pre-formatted the drive before you did the installer. The installer would do it right. So I think probably the easiest thing to do is wait till Windows 11 comes out. At that point, I mean, it is out, but wait till it's offered to you, I guess is what I should say. It came out on the 5th, but very few people actually got offered Windows 11. So once it's saying, and in order to see this, you'd have to go to Update, and it says, hey, look, you can get Windows 11. See if it ever says that, and if it does, let it go, and it might do it all anyway. If it never offers it to you, and I think it's just, Microsoft has said that pretty much everybody will get it by early next year, whatever that means, first quarter next year. If you still don't, if you really want it, and by the way, no reason to really want it, it's mostly a cosmetic update. Maybe by early next year, things like the Android store will be in there and some updates that make a difference, but right now it's just fresh paint on the old Windows 10. I like it, but there are still bugs with it and stuff, so I wouldn't rush to do it anyway. But at that point, you probably would want to, you've already got a good backup. Just download the Windows 11 ISO and run it on top of it, wipe the drive and start over. And it will be smart. If you run the Windows installer, with an empty drive, in fact, I would delete all the partitions. It will then partition it properly, put the right GPT and on it and everything. That's a strange thing. Yeah, thank goodness for iDrive. By the way, our sponsor, I think the Federal Trade Commission would require me to say at this point, they are our sponsor, but they are beloved. iDrive is the way to back up your most valuable data. You heard him said it, locally and in the cloud. And everybody's got valuable data. You don't just have to be a business. You can be family photos, emails, tax records. Of course, if you're a business, customer records,